So while loop. Tell me, Kyler, what do we need for it?
All right. So first of all, it's continuous, and then you need a.
Wait, what? Say that again. I just didn't hear it.
I thought the loop was continuous.
What do you mean by that? Like,
I don't know. Just like it always. I don't know.
This is something that you heard associated with while loops.
Yeah.
So you're giving it back to me.
Yeah.
You are sort of correct.
Okay.
If a while loop is always continuous, there's a problem, right? Because then we call it an infinite loop. Right?
Yeah.
So what the difference between a for loop and a while loop is that a for loop is you know a quantity of times you need to do it, right? A while loop is more volatile. You don't always know, right? Yes, Denise, you could go. A while loop is volatile. In other words, like if we're playing a game, you might want to play it 5 times. I might want to play it 10. I don't know, right? For a for loop, we're going to go through. I've got 10 questions. I'm going to ask you all 10, one after the other. Okay, so it's more predictable. For loops are more predictable. While loops are less. So when you say continuous, it could be continuous, right? Until some condition changes externally. Okay, so what am I asking for here?
So we need a initial value. Wait, which are we doing an example, or are we just saying what
Well, I mean, I've given you an example here, right? So, because we're going over these questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you need? What does the while loop need to do?
It needs to. I don't really understand the question.
So the while loop is going to be a group of code that's going to run. Hang on. A while loop is a block of code that's going to run as long as some condition is true, right? So what condition is this in the case? What variable do I have that's true or false?
Which one are we looking at?
Number 3, the only one left.
Oh, okay. So we're looking at if run is true and if the number is less than 10.
Okay, so if what is? If those are true. Okay, correct. All right. So how are we going to do this, guys? Anybody write this one? Cole, go ahead.
Wow.
All right, so while loop looks a lot like an if statement. You're just going to have while, and then you're going to have a condition, right? And this, as long as this value here evaluates to true, then it'll keep running. So what two values we have? We have Boolean run, right? And int num. Okay? So we're going to run this code will execute if number is less than 10 and if run Boolean is true, right? So we can do that. Okay? We can add that in here. We can do this 2 ways, right? One is to combine an if statement with this. So I can say if run, right? Because if that is true, then do this thing. And then num, we want num, so I could do if num is greater than or equal to, wait, what's it going to the value? 10, or, oh, I'm sorry, less, or yeah, no, greater than or equal to 10, run equals false. Who can articulate what I'm doing with that? Who can kind of walk me through that code?
So check to see if run is true or not first.
Okay.
If it's true, they'll check to see if the number is greater than or equal to 10, which is like the flip side of the condition. And then it
Right.
stops running it.
Okay. So this would be one way for this code to function, right? And if you put that, that would be great. You can also do it by adding that into the while condition, right? So you can have a complex condition in the while loop too. So what would that look like?
And number, or num is less than.
Right? That's it. That's it. So, I mean, this quiz is not really trying to trick y'all. It's just trying to be, to make sure that you can kind of walk through these things and know how they function.
So you don't need to set run equal true, or just automatically true?
Well, so keep in mind, the condition is not dependent. Like writing a while loop isn't dependent on what run is set to, right? You just want it to execute if run is true. Because you might have a place in the code. So let's imagine a let's go back to the let's go back to the recipe, right? So it might be that like I want to make another recipe, right? There might be a piece of the program where I might need to run through my ingredients list again, right? Or maybe I don't, right? Depending, maybe I've memorized them and it asks, like, do you want to go through the ingredient list again? And I go, no, I'm good. So I set run to false, right? So then that piece of code wouldn't run. But then another user might use the program and go, yeah, I'm not too good with cooking. I need to go over that again, right? So the while loop, the condition, is independent of the value of the thing that you're checking, the variables, right? So the while loop, but you're saying, I only want this code to run if that condition is set to true. Does that make sense? Like you're creating a block of code that will run if the conditions are right for it to run. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
What exactly does like while refer? Like what's gonna happen while that's true?
This code will run. So all it's doing is it's looking in here, it's going to run that
So,
code,
like,
and then it's going to come
there
up.
would be, if in like an actual program,
Yeah.
there would be more underneath that.
Do you want to see an actual one?
Yeah.
Wait, can I finish?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, that sounded rude.
It's okay, I've got it on tape.
Okay. So like if run and number of less than 10 wasn't true, the code underneath while wouldn't run.
Yeah, so inside the block, right? Remember that this is always defining a block of code. So this code wouldn't run if this condition turned to false. But then whatever came next would,
Okay.
right? It just like hops over that code, that block of code if it's false. Okay? All right, you want to see a real one?
Yes.
You sure? Because I don't want to make you mad again. I know how easy it is to get you mad. All right. Oh, were you mad that I said that?
No.
You'll see what I did. All right. So let's go to the. Yeah, that's for later. Here, let's look at the actual move method. Hey, listen, guys. Listen. All right. Now I'm showing you, Emily. I'm showing you. This is sort of advanced, right? But you don't have to worry about the whole thing. I just want you to see this in code running. Look.
I'll turn mine on.
Yes, please. So, do you see this code here?
Wait, is try the same thing as else, pretty much?
No, ignore the try. That's sort of more. That's you don't need to worry about try yet. I'll tell you what try does. Try is another kind of thing that says try to do this thing. If it doesn't work, then do whatever is in the catch. Right? So like there are times when there are different kinds of errors. There's either compile errors or runtime errors. A runtime error is like upload this file from the user's computer and then do something with it. Well, if that file doesn't exist, right, that they try to upload, that's called a runtime error. So then you want it to do what's called failing gracefully, which means like you don't want the program to just like stop working and crash.
Yeah.
You want to go like, oh, that file didn't exist, right? So that's what a try would do. It'd be like try to go get that file. If that file doesn't exist, then say, hey, sorry, something got screwy, and that file wasn't there. Do you want to try again? Do you want to look for it again? Okay. All right. But in this case, all we really want to look at is the while loop, right? So this is while run, right? So while the code is running, do this thing, right? And this is the whole battle thing, right? Okay, so this is literally right now. When I run this, sorry, hold on. So when I run the code, this is running, right? Now, I'm not going to let it run until the condition changes, but this is the whole point of the while condition. It's going to keep running until something is false. And so here's actually where that shows up. So if I come back down here to the bottom, and I know y'all aren't going to understand all this, I just want you to see. I'm checking for a when condition, right? So to see if like one team is won or the other one has. And if it is, then I'm going to say when equals true and run equals false. Okay? So like as soon as it happens, then down here, I'm going to say run equals false. Right? So that's the condition that breaks the while loop. You don't need to worry about like how all that works. I just want you to see it in functional code. Okay? So there's my while loop right here. Okay? All right, questions? Do what?
Are those classes? Like what are those again? Things at the top?
Yeah, those are different classes for another program I'm writing for you.
So, like, in this certain loop,
Uh-huh.
so, like, it keeps playing until it, like, checks to see if someone won, then
Right, so every time this runs, it checks to see, every time this loops through, it checks to see if run is which is a Boolean variable, and if it has been changed, if its value has been changed, right? And so it runs to see if it's done it, if it's doing that. If it hasn't, right, then it keeps running until that changes to false. Okay? And so that actually is, you don't see it in here, but that's actually happening in the check collision. Right? So if there's a collision, it checks to see if that person died and if it's the last person from the other team to die. And if it was the last person from the other team or from one of the teams to die, then it declares a winner and then sets run to false. And then this program stops.
so every single time there's a collision, it checks to see if someone won.
Yep. Right? Well, every time there's a collision, the two pieces interact. If the two pieces battle, then it checks to see if there's a winner. Right? Computers can do a lot of processing at a given time. Okay? Questions? Yes, sir.
Are we